Alright everyone, welcome back to Wacky Wednesday, and we are here for F1 at Classic Monza. Not only are we racing the regular Grand Prix circuit, but we're also racing the oval, and we're going to try not to wreck ourselves here with all of these other cars, as we have, forgot about this part of the track, so everybody doesn't quite know what to do right here, so we'll just mosey on around nice and easy. Don't want to get too much damage too soon. But anyways, welcome back to Wacky Wednesday. So I thought it would be interesting. It's like, F1 still races at Monza. What if we did the oval and the regular Grand Prix circuit combined? That gets you about 6 miles. It's a pretty long circuit there. And definitely a lot of speed, so a lot of different factors to think about on this particular track here. And one of them is making sure you don't crash yourself. Let off the throttle just a little bit as we head into the turn, because we really can get pretty squirrely on here, and you can get a lot of damage really quick here. Haven't raced this track in a long time, so it's kind of interesting to hit it for the first time in a while. So we got ourselves some pretty cold brakes as well. Gonna try and make sure we're out of the way of oncoming faster traffic here, as some of these guys are a bit faster than we are. And I forgot that this is basically nice and straight. I'm gonna add a little heat to our brakes there as we wreck out a compatriot because he got stuck on our front end there. Luckily no suspension damage to speak of, just a little bit of aero. But yeah, I forgot how nice and smooth old classic Monza was without any of the newer parts of the track there. Get a little bit of damage to the rear end. Ooh, got some major suspension damage back there thanks to somebody who hit us right back there in the right rear. Now we're going to have to deal with that for the rest of the race, so that's going to be nice. Thank you very much. Currently we're 16th out of 20, which isn't too bad as we get loose and into the grass, and we totally ripped off our front nose. It's a very different track, that's for sure. We'll go ahead and come in and get our aero damage fixed, and hopefully that's suspension. We got quite a bit of suspension damage there. So we'll go ahead and get that fixed, because I don't want to drive the rest of this race with it. Still interesting. So I haven't seen a lap time yet, which that'd be interesting, but we're going to go ahead and peel off here. Get this car fixed, because it is pretty messed up there. We got our pit crew guys here already, so we got our fuel. So it's going to take us a little while on the repair, because we got to fix the rear suspension, which is messed up, front suspension that's messed up. We got our aero pieces already on, so that's going to take us just a little while to get that taken care of. But still, a very interesting circuit just with a little bit that we had there so far. Oh, and we got a car behind us as well. They're getting repairs. And we already got the guys coming back around from the oval, running down the backstretch there. So there they go. This would actually be a pretty fascinating circuit. I don't think it would work out very well from a logistics point of view, but it would be interesting, because this is definitely a lot to watch if you're a fan. Is that you got two front stretches right in front of you, you got the pits right in front of you, so you got three different elements right there. And then, yeah, that's fascinating. There we go. We got our suspension fixed in under, not quite under a minute, right at about a minute, so that's pretty good. Tires are fairly worn. I think we're running softs there, so I think part of that's due to, yeah, we gotta get the, oh, good night, we almost flipped. Gotta get our brakes warmed up here just a tad, because they're pretty cold at the moment, so kind of run those for a bit here as we get off the track again. There we go. Kind of warmed them up just a tad because they were pretty cool there. That's one thing that's interesting, is that even though you're going down the backstretch or a straight, you still want to kind of apply a little bit of brake to your car just to be able to get the heat back in. That was fascinating information at one point that I heard. It was like, You gotta be already getting those brakes warmed up so that they're not cold when you actually hit the braking zone, because that's not gonna work out for you too well. So we're back racing here, but yeah, look at this. So I mean, you have two front straightaways right here for everybody to see. Then you've got everybody going off into the oval there, which makes things rather interesting. By the way, that's an awesome oval. Love that thing. Very, very cool to see. So let's see how we make the turn here. The car does a real good job. A little twitchy, but very good around the turn there. Definitely a lot of straight. So right now we're looking at... There we go. Got our brakes right where we needed them. Also looking at our temperature. Temperature's not too bad. It's been doing pretty good. But we also have a lot of straight to help keep that temperature down as well. So that's certainly helpful. So 9 seconds already. Gonna use a little brake here because I don't remember how sharp this is. It's a very different course from regular Monza, which is pretty neat, to say the least. Hit the braking zone here. Yeah, it is like super flat and stuff, with very few surprises. The only real surprise that's on this track is this thing right up here, the little braking zone before you hit the oval. That's the only thing that really can kind of surprise you. Yeah, so you gotta get those brakes nice warmed up. You don't want to come blazing through here too fast, because that will mess you up significantly. So the question is, can we catch up to anybody? My guess is probably not, but still, this is definitely a very unique course, and I think we're going to need tires at some point here as we hit our suspension, of course. Of course we did that. That's the other hard thing, is really getting the car to stick to the track. It definitely doesn't want to do that very much. Make sure we add some brake there. Keep those brakes warm. But yeah, you can see that right front tire. Actually, that's the left front tire there. That thing's getting worn out pretty severely. But I think we're running softs is the problem, so we might want to switch that to medium for the long race, which could be in our favor then, because this is the default tire. So if the AI chose to run this tire, we could see some blowouts, which could lead to us being able to capitalize on the AI's mistakes. So I mean, we could see something work to our favor in that particular instance. I kind of doubt it, but still, be interesting nonetheless. But still, it's so fascinating because, like, with today's Monza, up-to-date Monza, you have a little bit of banking in these turns, and the rest of this is just flat. So it is definitely a bit different to get used to, because you're not really used to taking the turns without that little bit of banking, because it's so flat. Can't tell if we're actually catching up to anyone. I think we're probably falling behind, honestly. And I didn't realize we had a 7th gear in here, but we do, and we're going to use that. So far the tires still has some wear, but it's definitely getting about, I think it's at about 50%, so we're going to have to see if we can make it all the way without blowing that out. A little early on the braking zone, that's okay, we don't want to really wreck anything. Like the old Pepsi-Cola logo there, that's pretty cool. Gonna kind of shift up a little bit earlier to try and get us to our highest speed a little bit quicker, but also to help our revs a little bit, because we're slowly starting to get some engine damage on the car. Not what we want to see at this particular point in the race. We don't want to get loose either, that's going to cause us issues. So yeah, everybody's pretty far ahead of us. I don't think we're catching anybody. In fact, they might catch us with where they're at on the track right now. So we might have to try this circuit again at some point, but still, just a fun little video to have a little bit of a test drive on, and I definitely have enjoyed it so far. Minus the wrecking and hitting the walls and stuff. That's not exactly what I want to be doing. We got a little bit loose on the rear end there. That helped me make the turn just a little bit better. So this ended up being more of a track day episode than anything wacky, but still, I like this track. This is definitely very cool to have this option in Project Cars 2 to be able to combine both the oval and the original Grand Prix circuit, so I definitely enjoy that. But speaking of track day, remember, every day is track day, and you might as well be wearing the track day merch while you're enjoying it, so make sure to check that out as we try to make the turn. So we're going to be hitting lap number 5 here. We could get ourselves lapped, but I think everybody else is on the final. No, they're on lap 5 right now, so they're going to be coming by hitting lap 6 behind me. And we didn't brake soon enough. Oh, there's a wall there. An invisible wall. Oh, that's cool. That basically ended our day right there. We're not getting anywhere from here. I guess we could try. So now the wacky pot's coming in, apparently. So there's an invisible wall there for your information, in case you didn't know that. I definitely did not know that. I thought it just was an emergency through section there. So can we drive this, now that we're a lap down, this is our final lap, so can we, can we drive our way around? So if you hear a giant buzzing noise, it's going to be my controller having a fit because it doesn't know what's happening right now. I think we're going to end up blowing our engine on this lap here, as unfortunately we're a bit far back. Yeah, we don't have enough speed really to stay in second gear at the moment. We're not even going straight for the most part. But yeah, we just ripped off that entire wheel. So, anyways, to those of you who might be wondering about this track, definitely don't do that, because that's not going to work out for you too well. Can we get to third gear? Okay, we can get to third gear. That's going to lower our revs a little bit. Hopefully we might be able to save our engine, but it's going pretty quick there. You can see it. You can watch the damage slowly build up. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get anywhere, unfortunately. Hey, we got some pretty good speed at the moment, so that helps. Trying to keep it at the lower RPMs, but that damage is slowly creeping. We might make it to the front stretch, which would be cool. Race is basically over now. Well, I guess I'm going to be trying this again here. So what we have is switched over to the harder tires, so that should help us with some tire wear. So we're going to have to see how that goes. I'm going to go ahead and get out of the way of everybody here that wants to be a nut. Which is everybody. Gotta let this all sort through here, just kind of rolling through. Sad part of starting on the back, you really get a disadvantage to everyone else that's in front. So now we have hard tires. So one thing that's interesting is that none of the AI ended up pitting that last race. So that certainly switched things up. So we'll see what we can do this time. We got fresh tires, harder tires, so that's going to hopefully help us out with overall grip throughout the majority of this race, and we're going to see how everybody does, and everybody's doing pretty good. In fact, they're driving away from me. So apparently these AI are pretty good at this track, which is certainly nice. Good to see how good they are. I would hope that I would be better, but I kind of doubt it. So far, hard tires seem to be doing a little bit better. We're definitely having a much smoother race so far. No major damage. Back in 21st already, so AI have left us behind, which is fine. We're just trying to have a nice, clean, enjoyable race and not wreck ourselves, hopefully. You don't want to hit those curbs too much, because those will grab you pretty good and send you flying. They're a very strange curb, that's for sure. I mean, we're keeping up a lot better than we were previously, so I like that. A little practice does make perfect. So everybody rolling around. Just trying to get a little bit of an advantage on this blue car, number 15 here. And we're going to be heading into the danger zone, so we go ahead and start backing out here. Because they will have no second thoughts about wrecking you out of their way. Is how they work. And being able to, because it's so bumpy, you gotta kind of figure out how to keep your car nice and smooth. As you saw, that lost the nose of the car just a tad. It's figuring out how to keep the car nice and even through the turns. It's not easy, because it's a very bumpy track, so if you get a little bit too much of a bump, you really do end up turning, so it's very tricky. Ooh, yep. Alright, we're having a much better race so far. We're having some pretty high temps here. So that's going to be the other question. This time running full tilt, hopefully with everybody. See if anybody has any issues. He's slowing down a little bit for the turn there. I saw some contact up front. Getting a little bit loose ourselves. Luckily able to save it, get it off the grass there. This is a very sweeping turn compared to the actual turn nowadays. It really does sweep quite a lot as we get a little bit loose in that corner there. We're having a much better lap time so far, 16 seconds faster. I think that's from our previous time or from our previous session, I'm not totally sure. But we're definitely doing a tad better on speed. And handling has definitely improved. As you see right there, we have a lot less wear on our left front tire. Try and catch up to these guys, see if we can pick off a few more spots. Thing is being very, very, very smart about it. Downshift, downshift, downshift. Thank you. A little bit over there. There. Where's that? Stopped right in front of me. He goes, hits the wall. Now he's stuck. You want to really, as soon as you hit that straight, start shifting already. It seems like, so that you can really maximize on speed, trying to get this car in a good groove so I can smooth it out and not hit the wall. So there's a little bit of a draft with these cars, so if you lose it, you only hit about 197 miles an hour. You get into the draft, you're hitting at least 205. I guess you can run the bottom too, but it kind of gets a little bit on the tricky side there. It does work, but you're not going to have as much speed off the turn. But yeah, there is some draft there, which is fascinating. So right now we have the advantage. Can't tell where he is. There he is. Gonna get in front of him. I get a little bit loose through the turn, but the car handles it pretty good there. And as I said, compared to the actual Monza nowadays, this is such a sweeping turn. It is a very odd feel compared to what it normally is, so gotta get used to that some. Alright, so we've made up spots and we're up to 15th, which is certainly an improvement. We got ourselves some engine damage, like 1%. Luckily that hasn't seemed to climbed any currently, so we'll have to keep an eyeball on that. Making a bit of a run on us here. Able to send him backwards. Alright, that was a pretty good braking zone into there with some downshifts. Got a little bit loose there. Yeah, there wasn't any real room to be able to make any dive bombs through there. It's a good place to make up some positions, but only if you're not risking your front wing and suspension. So far, I really do enjoy this track. It's really good since we didn't get the damage earlier on. It definitely ends up being a much better experience, not having to deal with the damage in the pit stop. But it is a very fun circuit. So I think I just needed a warm up to it, but yeah, it's definitely fun. But you just gotta. This is the hardest part right here, is just because it's such a angle and such a bumpy part of the track. When you come off of there, you get kind of swirly. You're just trying to get that line so you get the best consistent speed. That is hard to do. So 15th is our current position so far. Everybody's a little bit spread out, but basically all in a semi-regular pack here. Hit that a little bit there. There we go. One thing I wasn't doing is when I lost speed there, was downshifting to 6th gear, so that way we could get that speed back up. So I'm not sure if they could ever actually safely do this, but it would definitely be fascinating if they did. Because I'm not sure how long you would make this race, because it's a 6 mile plus track. So that's, and I haven't really seen what my lap time is, so I have to look at the end of the race. And I'm going to be off into the gravel here. So yeah, we'll check what the lap times were after the race, but definitely seems like it's fairly fast. Downshifting, downshifting, downshifting. Make sure we don't go through that hole that is not a hole, because we will lose wheels, and we don't need to do that. But that would normally, if that actually was workable, that would be the normal. You miss the turn, so you snake through there to get through safely without having to back up into traffic. So that would be what it would be meant for, but still, it's kind of odd that that's not how it works. It's just an invisible wall, and that's like, that's not very fun. Yeah, so see, without a draft behind other cars, we're running about 191, 94 to 95 on the mile per hour. Whereas we get behind cars, we can get a pretty good speed, like almost got close to that wall, about 205. So that's a pretty big speed difference with having a draft behind another car. So definitely a lot of speed that we're lacking, not being with any of the other cars at the moment. So we got 2% damage on the engine currently. We're not turning very well. 3% damage now. So slowly having that engine damage creep up on us. And we'll see if we can catch these guys up for the final lap and get past some of them. Kind of doubt it, but we'll give it a try. Definitely some very good AI on this track. And just lack of experience for me, all combining to put me back here for the most part. Definitely a pretty cool track, as we got some cloud cover that has really rolled in of late. See if we can catch up to these guys. And we are on the final lap. Alright, that kind of worked. Not exactly how you want to do it. A little bit on the cheaty side, but I did have a little bit too much momentum and I didn't want to ram right into the guys, so it does work. And we did gain positions. Now, if that was actually F1, we'd totally be like 3 second, 5 second penalty, like instantly. But luckily, this is an actual F1, and this isn't the actual mechanics of the F1 game, so that works out really good for us here. As we got 207, 208, 209. Got some serious speed going on here. Don't hit the wall, don't hit the wall, don't hit the wall, don't hit the wall, don't hit the wall. We're almost to the end of the race, and I want to finish it if I can. Alright, we got some runs. We got some runs here. Ever so slowly running up on these guys. That's another spot. We want to be real careful, because as I said, it's the final lap and I do not want to not finish the race after all this effort I put into it. Ooh, boy, we are loose. We were a second faster there with the draft. That's how fast this place can be. So we're even faster than... Yes, that was a lot of the speed boost there. We almost had those spots if we hadn't gotten our tires off into the grass there. Also lost a lot of our time now. And I forgot we have the cooldown lap here for this particular series. So what we'll do is just wait for everybody to get by here, and we'll just reverse, and we'll just go over to pit lane and get this thing all nice and taken care of here. But still, just a very fascinating and cool looking track. And I still think there's still something, like right here, you see this? Something to do with the Olympics. I don't know what it is, but there is something to do with the Olympics here at this track, and I haven't been able to find anything about it. But something with the Olympics did happen at this track, which is pretty neat. So there we go. We are now finished. We're going to pull into our pit lane, and we should be done for the day. So there we go. So the best lap time right there is about 2:17, so 2 minutes and 17 seconds. We will scroll down the list here. There we go. So that's a 2:17.54, a 2:17, basically 2:17 flat, a 2:17.860, 2:17.99. Where were we at? There we go. We were doing a 2:16.58. That was with the draft help there. And then there's also a 2:16.860. So definitely some pretty fast lap times there. So I don't know. That seems like that could possibly work as a F1 circuit. That would be interesting. Alright guys, so hopefully you enjoyed that video. That was definitely interesting. The first race wasn't that good because of our suspension damage and kept losing parts and stuff, but the second race definitely went a lot better, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But I don't know, definitely a wacky setup of a track, as you get an oval, Daytona styled oval, I guess. I mean, it's basically the length of Talladega for the most part, and then you got a Grand Prix circuit mixed into it, which that's definitely a pretty crazy looking circuit nonetheless. So anyways, would that be interesting to see F1 or any other racing series actually run that as a circuit? I think it would actually be pretty interesting, but I'm not sure how they would be able to run that. It would definitely be kind of awkward depending on how you had to set up the walls and stuff, but still, it would be interesting nonetheless. But still, fun video, definitely one of the wacky ones with F1 cars on this particular circuit, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the video today, and we will see you guys here next time on the Combustion Gamer YouTube channel with some more Wacky Wednesdays. Thanks guys for watching. See you next time. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye bye.